regular prasadam distribution. It could be once a month or once a week or every day, but regular like that. And people paid. And that was, which is kind of nice because it's sustainable. Yeah. And then usually the experience was that for the first year, you didn't preach too much. Yeah. But you had a very, very nice, attractive book table. And then people who were college students and stuff, it's like, it's like they have to look at them. And yeah, you can't argue with a book, it's like that kind of stuff. So that was the main thing. People wanted to, whatever. First year was regular prasad, like that. And after 1 year, then people started asking questions and stuff like that, and progressed, different things like jnana with classes on different topics, and then japa for meditation, this kind of stuff. It was like, that was the thing that, regular prasadam distribution. And again, it didn't have to be every day, because people know and stuff. So that's good.
Same thing, Maharaj, like here, when people come, our first goal is to let them speak, tell them about ourselves, and then we speak to them and try to just become their friend, appreciate them. And I don't know, some are ready to come in instantly, inquire and join all the classes. For some, they've been coming for 2 years, but they're still, we're filling their Sukriti cups such that they have that desire to move further.
You said all the classes, you got a curriculum or something?
Yeah, Maharaj. So throughout the week, we try to run the classes. So some of the classes, for example, Monday, but before that, let me go to the sequence. So first we try to bring them to the Beginning Bhakti series. Beginning Bhakti. Yeah. So here we are trying, it's the version of the Discover Yourself which we typically do in the temple.
Okay.
So we have converted it for
this is from Pune?
Yeah, so yes, Maharaj. So, but we are not teaching that.
Okay. Are you working with Radha Sham?
No, Maharaj. So we took the concept from there, but we have started a new series based on Kaustubh Prabhu. You know Kaustubha Prabhu?
And Bhakti Center, New York.
The Wisdom of the Sages.
Okay.
So we heard his series in Rishikesh, where he's preaching to the Westerners, and he's coming from the angle of the yogis, because they all want to go for the yoga studio and yoga. So he's coming from the yogis. So he says that, so his style is that we start from the Brahman. Okay, first Brahman establish that there is energy or something what they can associate with, then take them to Paramatma and then bring them to Bhagwan. So he approaches that. So I have taken his whole transcript and I have converted into a 12 episode program, and we are calling it as a Beginning Bhakti, like awareness, the yoga of awareness. Awareness, yeah. So this is what.
It's fine.
Yeah. So that's first series. Then we will be starting. We haven't started. Our plan is from September. We'll start teaching Isha Upanishad.
Okay.
Yeah. So we heard from Atlanta that they have used it very successfully to bring the people who are religious from the different religious background.
Yeah.
So
It's good. No, it's good.
Yeah.
Many people. It's talking in general. Yeah, and Christian, where we are in Nashville, heart of the Bible Belt, and devotee Mr. Bhagavan is reading this verse, I'm like this, and he said, well, that's the same God I worship.
yes.
That's interesting. I mean, it is. It's nice.
Yeah.
Because we have seen many of the seekers, yogis, they know of Upanishads. So when we say Upanishad, then if we say Bhagavad Gita, they are like, oh, it's religious book. When we say Upanishad, then they are like, oh, this is a term I have heard. A yoga book.
I think it's the only thing we have which is Shruti.
Yeah.
Everything else we have is Smriti. And I think probably this did it for that purpose, because so many purports it says, right, this is better explained in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. And it's wonderful.
Yeah. So our idea is, Maharaj, Beginning Bhakti. So one stream will be people who are completely new, but they would like to learn. They come to the Beginning Bhakti. From there, they can go to Bhagavad Gita, study, or if they want to go a slower path, they can come to Isha Upanishad and then to the Bhagavad Gita. And the other group who already know, they can directly come to Isha Upanishad and then they can go to the Bhagavad Gita and then Srimad Bhagavatam. So,
What I've been using is Light of the Bhagavad.
Light of the Bhagavad.
Light of the Bhagavad,
And
okay.
I think even for here, it's because, Prabhupada designed it for a specific audience, right? You know? He was invited to a symposium in Japan on
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yes.
cultivation
Yes,
of the human
yes.
spirit.
Yes.
So he thought that the Oriental people are very, very fond of pantheistic things. I mean, if you see, like, I don't know, House of the Flying Dagger, they're these big, super classic Chinese movies and stuff. They were international, but they have really good plots and everything. But the pantheistic views are just incredible. Nature and everything else. It's, they're super at that. They like that. So when Prabhupada wrote it, I was born on Guam. I think I was a Chinese Mexican monk in my last lifetime. I like Mexican food. I like Chinese philosophy. My parents were here at the end of World War II and stuff, and so I was born there. And I think, I grew up in California, so 1948. So anyway, I like it very much. I was thinking, okay, and it's the chapter description of autumn. That's what it is. And Sukadeva Goswami is giving all these lessons from nature, one after another. And the other thing is also they published it as a book. Okay. Next thing is, and Prabhupada gave the descriptions. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj is working with this Chinese lady, a very famous artist, very well, and she did all the pictures in there. We have them. They're about 50 megabytes each one. So you can, there's a peacock, and really they're really good. And so you can blow them up to like 2 meters, 6 feet, without losing detail.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're impressive and stuff. They talk all about different things, ideas like that, and it's philosophy for nature. It might be good here because Seattle has traditionally had a pretty strong Oriental community.
Yes.
Bruce Lee was from here and everybody else. This is a nice book. So Light of the Bhagavad,
Okay.
in our outreach book, and it was designed for that purpose, and we've had him, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was organizing a symposium. The idea of Prabhupada, cultivation of the human spirit, you could set this exhibition up, all this kind of stuff. He couldn't go because of money, but it's perfect, it's designed for that. So I thought, okay, we can do that too. And then I heard Tamal Krishna Maharaj, just before he left his body, was doing that with Cambridge. We were all going to have a whole exhibition with the art set up and then the stories and stuff. But a lot of it is Varna Ashram, which is how people in different lives. And for example, there's one that's in the autumn season, rainy season, there's the lightning flashes from one cloud to another, right? And this is like a woman who cannot keep her mind fixed upon one man. And so it's very, very like, you meet some lady who's a professor of cultural anthropology, and what we did was divorce the feminine element. But it gives a very, very nice purport about relationship between men and women, and chastity and marriage, and how a very beautiful and qualified girl, she has this problem because she can attract men. So she's embracing one, looking at another, and thinking of a third. So everybody understand their potencies and abilities, and it's very, very nice book. So we did an index for it. That's what we're doing. You've got to do your own thing. But then describing Vrindavan Dham, how wonderful it is. And the purport says that Krishna comes and brings Vrindavan, and those who want to understand Vrindavan Dham can take advantage of the works of the 6 Goswamis who lived there. Okay, and the literature. Okay, the nectar of instruction. So, the Bhagavad, nectar of instruction. And then, of course, there's a summary of everything. And then finally, we finish off with
Nectar of devotion.
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This again is the intellectual kind of atmosphere. Because Prabhupada was not going to publish the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That was not in his plan. So he did Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So it includes what? Instructions to Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Gauranga Saraswati, Prashananda, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. one Gaudiya in the beginning of ISKCON was talking with one Gaudiya Mat sannyasi, he was criticizing ISKCON and Prabhupada and saying, you're giving initiation to people, what books do you have? Have you ever read Chaitanya Charitamrita? And then he said, Prabhupada did a summary, and what's in it? He said, Rupa Goswami, and he said, that's enough. And it's so wonderful because everything's there from Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's done differently, so you can definitely read it.
No,
so
thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
What we've been doing is Bhagavad Bhagavat outreach, nectar of instruction as like a whole basic view, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita takes you to the highest level. Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago. Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Krishna book and all this stuff in Bhagavad Gita is like 20-mile long witches and but okay, the kind of mysticism that's in Chaitanya's Leela, that's kind of like people could think, it's not impossible that these things happen. There's no like 20-mile long witches and that kind of stuff. That's why one general program, and it's the whole point. Everybody's different. Atmosphere, but it might be nice here because again, of course, I was working with the Bhakti Vedanta Institute for a long time. I didn't want to get involved. I started in electrical engineering, changed to biological engineering, graduated in psychology with first place prize, moved to California, and then, what do? I started improvisational theater. So I applied to UCLA and Northwestern. They both said, we'll give you a full fellowship, for a single penny, because we know when you become an alumni, we'll get it back 6 times over. So come on. So I went to Chicago, something different, and I eventually ended up with Donald Campbell as my mentor. He was president of the American Psychological Association. And he said, you figured it out. He said, you've been through physical sciences, life sciences, cognitive sciences, you're starting with fine arts. And he said, this is a career track. After you become a PhD, then you'll become postdoctorate. After you're postdoctorate, then you become assistant professor, then associate professor. He said, finally, when you become a full professor at 40 or 45 years old, you're going to be able to do some research that you want to do. And that was, right? So he said, if you have any character, go straight to Asia. All this stuff's coming out of there. Sleep under the bushes a few days in your life. And live in a dojo. So that's when I took off, and then eventually met Prabhupada's book, got involved. It was an Oriental culture. So we got prasadam. Even the Bhakti Vedanta Institute, the same thing. Prabhupada's formula was nice reception. Then prasad. And then we discuss philosophy. Nobel laureates and everything else. So but I didn't want to get involved because my gosh, I already had my full of science. But I was traveling around, the public tour we were doing, and I met Tamal Krishna Maharaj in New York, and I said, how important is this science preaching? And he said, Prabhupada said over and over again, for his entire last year, scientific preaching is my #1 preaching program. So, yoga and mysticism, But the other side is science and the Vedas. And again, that's the atmosphere and stuff. You see everybody, new stuff's coming out, money's going into it. And so many, actually, the whole thing is you go on with science and the Vedas, you start getting, more and more connections. What is it? Artificial intelligence, right? Quantum computing. So much is based on Euclid, right? Euclid's principles. And Euclid had something is either true or false. Okay, you have 2 truth values. Okay? But then the Buddhists had 4 truth values. It is true or false, or it is false and false, or it is true and true. After them or something, the Jains came up with 5. In terms of what is reality, these truth values and stuff. Because then on a quantum level, Schrodinger's cat is dead and not dead at the same time, right? It's a problem. You start getting these things which you cannot handle by Euclid's method and stuff. Okay, so then Western philosophy, very prominent, prominent philosophers and people from mathematicians from Oxford, everybody else are looking at the Vedas and sometimes just rejecting them in the beginning. But now it's starting to be public because of Prabhupada and everything we've been doing, people beginning to take it serious. So then they took, I wasn't Aryabhata, but it was somebody later, it was Navanyaya. And Lord Chaitanya was studying, right? Everybody was studying from Sarvabhauma, Bhoma tribe was Navanyaya. He was studying, okay? So it was rigorously stated in Sanskrit, all the different conditions and everything else that you need to handle this five-state logic, which with quantum mechanics you've got to deal with, okay? Right? And then it just kicks in, and all your data centers are useless because now you can do it all. yeah. So it's a very cutting-edge thing. Okay, so the professor at Oxford, with his disciple student, they had to go through and create a symbolic system, symbolic language to put it from the Sanskrit into a system that could match up with Western operation. And he said it was a complete match, you know. And the Sanskrit, when you're using it properly, it had all the totally consistent logical system just within the Sanskrit. And the Sanskrit, then who knows that and stuff. So that's what it's just like. Science in the Vedas is really, because they believe in science. Our most recent thing. I tried Bhakti for a while, then I realized I have to learn a lot more stuff. I background's in psychology, so I can give an introductory lecture on Bhakti at universities, deans and people accept it, but I can't go. I said, why go beyond that? I know psychology. So I started investigating, and Prabhupada said of all the Western philosophers, was it Dialectical Spiritualism, that book? Prabhupada did that book, Dialectical Spiritualism. He had Hayagriva and Devotee Chamasundar taking a book on the summary of the Western philosophers, and they would read it and they would present it, and Prabhupada would make comments. And it was a book. The book was called Dialectical Spiritualism.
You just put it on.
What happened was they weren't presenting it all that accurately. I mean, they were, but there were mistakes, and enough mistakes so that it doesn't make it look good and stuff. So it was not published anymore. Prabhupada liked Socrates and everybody else who was criticizing their ideas. When it came down to Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, right?
Yeah.
So Freud's protege was Carl Jung. Okay. And everything else, he finally separated with him on different things. So they're presenting Jung's philosophy, and Prabhupada says, well, that is correct. Yes, he has the right idea. No, that is not correct. And Shamasundar would expand it, well, from that perspective, it is correct. And Shamasundar says, he was the last one, Prabhupada. And he says, of all of them, he has the most sense. So in studying psychology, you study his books, Man and Symbols, these kind of things like that. And it's nice. It's like, compared to Western thought, it's like different. But when you start to penetrate into it, you discover he was, for one thing, he was born, I think, 3 years or 5 years after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he's from his childhood, he was having these very strange experiences. Small Swiss town, his father was a Protestant Christian priest and stuff, pastor. But he was having all these experiences. Basically, he was like born like with his consciousness is about here in terms of the chakras and stuff. At that time, there was no psychology. Basically, if you were crazy and poor, they would drive you out on the street and eventually you'd die. If you were a rich white lady, they would chain you to a bed and throw water on you and feed you. That was not a good perspective. But when Jung started, he became an adult. What do I want to do? Maybe I'll become a doctor and this kind of stuff. And his experiences kind of kicked him into himself. Dr. Buehler was starting to investigate the mind. Okay, they were using that for free association. Okay, I'll say a word. You say the word. The first word that pops into your mind. Hot.
Cold.
Okay.
Red.
Well, deep,
Okay. Fast.
slow,
India.
America,
Wife.
husband.
No, because see, we're keeping like, a kind of social thing there. When you're doing free association, this quickly it starts to come out. So one of his Tavistock lectures, a series of lectures he gave, Jung's talking about one case study. And their institute was one girl, maybe about your age, like that, and she was completely autistic. She would just like sit there and, some minimal communication with people for hygiene and food and that kind of stuff. And she just would just gone like that. So he would bring her in, she would sit there and stuff, and he started doing these things and establishing a rapport. And finally, after a while, she started to just respond to the stuff if someone was talking to me. And eventually, after 1 year, he identified a complex involving water, murder, children, this and that. And it kept on going on, and eventually the whole thing came out like that with the testing. Yeah, there are psychological structures. There are, all the things he's talking about are the same things we have Prabhupada's books, but he was experiencing and trying to put them together, right? At that time, 1932 or something. Okay, she was a young girl growing up in a small Swiss town, and she was in love with the rich man's son. She thought, I can never marry him. So some nice boy asked her to get married. She said, okay. And she moved away to her new husband's other place and so forth, so on. And she had one toddler, another baby was sitting in the tub. And one of her old girlfriends came to visit and they're talking about everybody, everything else. And the girlfriend told her, you broke that rich man's son's heart. He wanted to marry you. Yeah, the girl. Yeah, you can see, it was just like your girl or guys like this. Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened. Yeah, her friend left. Okay, and the baby was toddling, and the other one was sitting in the tub, for the bath, and started sucking on the sponge. And she just watched the baby suck on the sponge. But everybody knew that a horse had fallen into the reservoir, and there was cholera in the water. And you got to wait a few days, so don't drink the water. So she let the baby suck on the sponge, just staring at it. The baby got cholera and died.
Wow.
You can even see this. It's like, and eventually, she just went nuts. So the Jung, that's how much psychology was at. With these testing, they identified it and gradually that was somewhere in the report. He brought her back to the fact where she, trusting him, she could talk about it. And the question was, how much control did you have at that moment? Because we understand that these things are so shocking that it's just like this baby represents the barrier that prevents you from all these things like that and so forth, so on. And how much did you actually? And she went through it, and finally she came to a conclusion, everything else, and she faced her responsibility in terms of what I'd done, and now what am I supposed to do in life? And then she, went ahead. But that's just one example. And Chandra Shamdashini, he's an Indian guy. Shamdashini, he's Sindhi. He was looking for a guru, found Carl Jung. And so he's been one of the leading guys for taking Jung's works and translating and everything else. But it's continuously a very healthy group of people, with many young people involved, very influential in different places. Because Jung presents an idea where you can have spirituality without becoming. He rejected rituals as being sufficient, karma. He rejected jnana as being sufficient, logical understanding. You have to come to the level of introspection, meditation. He had his techniques and stuff. He went to India. So that's what all of my stuff boils down to this thesis: science, psyche, and spirituality. The encounter of Carl Jung with the Bhakti Siddhanta traditional India. Okay, I got it. That's where I'm working, science and the Vedas.
That's amazing, Maharaj. I think that's definitely we need something at this point of time.
Area, science and the Vedas, yoga and mysticism, Oriental Indian philosophy and stuff, prasadam.
Yeah.
So, this last tour, I'm trying to consolidate everything. You have to consolidate everything you're doing. Okay, I'm getting too old. I don't need projects anymore. Psychologists and everything else says, no, at our age, we don't leave projects. We just give advice. Okay, So we went to a tour of all the stuff we did in India, came back through South America, educational programs, university programs, everything else. Some of the devotees, nice symposium. And, and it was working out that the Ministry of Health in Chile and Peru both want to include Ayurveda within their standard medical resources, the same way India has it within their system.
Wow.
Okay. And then the professors in university, maybe 38 years old, everything else, your age, And this guy studied in the Sorbonne. He's the chairman of the Department of Biology at 38 years old. He's advancing. very nice, very friendly, devotees meeting him. Yeah. And he says, yeah, I see this is working. I'm beginning to understand Ayurveda, and some of my associates were also interested. And the guy you just saw come in here, he's testing the medical medicines, Ayurvedic medicines, to get them certified by the government as imports and stuff. A lot of eyebrows are raising, some eyebrows are raising, we're studying these things in the university, but we're being scientific about it, and pretty much people are interested. Yeah. So he said this, and he says, I can understand science, but what's in between I can't figure out. So that's what we worked out with Samkhya and all these kind of things. We can explain how the levels, the mind is connected and stuff. So he was the ambassador of India in Chile, lady. She said, these doctor people, they'll work out all this kind of stuff. We bureaucrats will handle all the certification. And you Hare Krishnas can handle the philosophy. I also like philosophy. It's one of my favorite hobbies. But that's workable.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the thing is you're considering now we want a medical system which includes not just poke it in your arm, pop open your mouth and pop it. We want the people know what's going on. They participate. There's a broader perspective. So that's what's, and most of the people that are coming to Ayurveda are coming to it through acupuncture, Chinese medicine. So it's kind of like just in terms of what's going on, because I know that they have a very long tradition here of Oriental medicine. There's a whole university here was set up.
Bastard.
Yeah. Certified with the government and everything else. Yeah. So I mean, it's a whole. But it's a whole thing. What is my nature? What do I do? I ended up in psychology because that's what I'm doing. And somebody else, and you just get more people involved, and then somebody else is a doctor and stuff. And so it's just you got to do it your own way. Yeah. But Ayurveda is a Dr. Ajari, who was coming visiting our temple in Berkeley. He's from Tibet. Okay, this and that. He met Prabhupada on the first days. He said, Swamiji, can we spread this through medicine? And he said, Swamiji said, too soon, Ajari, 50 years. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening now. It's like possible. So science in the Vedas, my another one here, the Bhakti Vedanta Library is my interfaith dialogue. One about it. Science in the Vedas. Oh yeah, world classical literature.
World classical literature.
Yeah, that gives you an excuse to read all these good books, because then the Bhagavatam and everything fit into this. Because if you want to understand Spanish people, you have to understand Don Quixote. That's their cultural icon. If you want to understand Chinese people, you have to understand Journey to the West, by Sun Wukong. Because they have their icons. And of course, our culture is Shakespeare and these things. I was telling him on here that the first real science fiction movie as a child I saw, maybe 1960s beginning, was Forbidden Planet with Robbie the Robot. You can look it up. But it was like, well, that's this kind of stuff. And then there was the 20 best science fiction films in the world. They're going all through all the history and different kinds of motifs, and they finally come to number one. And they say, we don't have to tell you what is number one. All of you know what is the greatest science fiction movie ever made.
I got wrong.
He didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
You know what?
Do you know which is the best science fiction movie?
Greatest science fiction. Yeah.
I thought it was Star Wars. That's what I thought.
That's
But it's not.
That's a cowboy fight transferred out of space. 2001 Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick.
Space Odyssey.
Yeah. Even now, it's just that he was Stanley Kubrick's giant, and he was working with Arthur C. Clarke, who's one of the greatest science fiction writers. They have a very good plots about what is evolution, life, and stuff. There's almost no dialogue in the whole thing. You can watch it, it's just still spellbinding. When it hit the Oscar Awards, it was just totally polarized everybody, because all the science fiction stuff before was kind of like strange stuff. But he did it first class. Anyway.
Space Odyssey.
2001.
Space Odyssey.
You got your phone? Look up on YouTube. 2001 Space Odyssey introduction.
I just typed 2001. It already completes the Space Odyssey.
Yeah. How many hits you're going to get? Yeah. Introduction.
Introduction,
We did
a trailer.
1 minute clip. Not the trailer, but the introduction. This is how the whole movie starts. Gigantic screen and everything else. Okay. You got it there?
I'm just struggling without my glasses to type.
You got it?
It's loading for some
No,
reason.
no,
Are you going to play it?
Yeah.
You want to look at it? This is how the movie starts. You're sitting there in the theater. First we're going to advertise.
Okay.
I'll show you. No.
It's not the one? Maharaj is laughing.
This is a.
Something weird?
Okay.
It seems like an Indian movie.
2001.
check what I typed is right. Maharaj doesn't use glasses and I need glasses.
When I'm transferring my files from a new phone to actually I'm transferring files to an old phone. 2001 A Space Odyssey Introduction. Okay.
You found it?
Here it is. This has 7.4 million hits. Okay. Used to be popular. Now of course there's an advertisement first for Coca-Cola or Hertz. Okay, why not? Where's the volume switch? It's on maximum.
No, it's coming now.
Volume, no, I lowered it.
It's the maximum volume and go back to the beginning. Now again, the screen is a little bigger than this.
It's black.
Right now it's black.
Picture.
No, it's coming. I think it's coming. Yeah. It's starting. It's starting now.
This is the MGM.
Sun rising.
Yeah, on the universe.
The whole thing is about the sun.
That's when you sit down if it happens.
Theater.
You know, what is the sun rising behind the moon, everything. You understand what Kubrick is? You know, it was nothing before this. What that is the overture to also Sprach Zarathustra, which is a symphony by Wagner. The whole symphony goes after that, like that and so on. So you see what he's using the most classical music on the face of the earth, and everything else is works up. And what it cuts to next is all these monkeys in the desert kind of place, there are water holes and you know. And then you see this giant obelisk, and they touch it, and something happens, and they start beating them. One monkey picks up the stick and just starts defeating the other monkeys. They're very well done, you know. So funny, he smashes the other monkey with the stick, right? He's learned how to use a tool, because, okay? Then he tosses it into the thing, and it goes up, and it turns into a space station. I mean, it's really just fantastic. And the whole idea is punctuated evolution. That at different points, this unknown thing, whatever it is, from wherever it's from, has been, you know, pushing people from being apes to using tools and like that. And the end of the thing, there's this space baby is being born in the future and stuff like that. And so it has kind of very heroic things about who are we, you know, being influenced by other higher powers and this and stuff. So it's very good. Yeah. Anyway, that's 2001.
Now I'm inspired to watch it. I should watch it.
Now we have to watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should watch it together.
Star Wars is a space opera. You can put it in the Wild West of people shooting their pistols off and all this kind of stuff. You know, icons, iconographic. We're talking about. So Shakespeare and everything else. That's what I was mentioning. Okay, the first movie was the Forbidden Planet. And everything. Oh, it's a fantastic plot. Everything else. And the guy said, "Don't you recognize it? It's a Tempest by Shakespeare. He just took it from an island and did all this stuff." And the Lion King. The Lion King, I think, cost there were 30 million to produce, $30 million to produce, and the revenue so far produced is $210 million. And then they reproduce, and it's still going on. It's based completely on Hamlet.
On Hamlet. Wow. Wow.
It's the same story, the uncle and everything else. And everybody said we did that. Yeah, so there's iconographic stuff. And Indian culture is based upon Mahabharata, Ramayana, who are these? So he's, presenting things on this iconographic level, the level of Buddhi. And that's where Jung was coming to, saying, that's what makes us move, it's the subconscious, and so many things that he was experiencing were the same things Prabhupada. And we understand. So it's a very nice community to work with. And you find them everywhere. But they're kind of extreme. It's like, there's some pretty advanced people who understand this. But they're looking for something. And now in the universities, when we're going through things, they're like, all the things that the Bhakti Vedanta Institute was setting up, my experience, we're talking to very big universities now, and they're saying, yes, that's the way to do it. What they want to introduce now is spiritual intelligence. We have emotional intelligence, all this kind of stuff. So spiritual intelligence, okay, that's the way we can introduce religion without getting all these problems that religion is causing for us when we try to introduce it. And it's, probably doing all this kind of stuff in the Bhakti Vedanta Institute, Buddhi, So it's a very, very good atmosphere, nice atmosphere. The universities and so on, kind of summary. But everybody, you have to just pioneer it yourself.
Yes, Maharaj.
The best way to preach is by example.
Yeah.
The best to find out who you are, and then other people be attracted.
Maharaj, what are some of your thoughts about the corporate preaching? So some idea has come that corporate preaching, So we are thinking that once a month, as a part of my retirement, I landed it that once a month we'll be running these wisdom sessions. So how to build it so that it moves the people to the next step? Because we were doing it inside the Microsoft, but it was not organized. So we couldn't really make the impact. So do you have some thoughts on that?
There are many people doing it. Gauranga, of course. Gauranga.
Gauranga Prabhu?
Yeah, he's doing it.
Okay.
Then there's Nityananda in Dallas, a very senior person. He started a very effective program. And then there was in Karvar, the Bodhi there is running a program. So many people are going to that area and developing their curriculum and that kind of stuff.
So Nityananda Prabhu at Dallas, okay.
The previous temple president. He's come here to Seattle.
Okay.
You've seen him. You've seen him.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a program which is working.
Okay.
I mean, Gauranga, I think, kind of
I'll give
doing
you
like lecturing and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And Nityananda is developing a whole program.
Okay. Sequential, okay.
He was a lawyer by himself. He's an attorney.
He went to Maharaj Maharaj, his senior disciples.
Okay. Okay.
Was that place?
Dallas.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
No,
Thank
it's-
you. Your
Alright.
I like it. They're nice. It's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, Maharaj. Yeah. So everything.
This was a toy assembling office.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice.
So Maharaj, this is our report.
Going deeper into Bhakti. It's nice. Semester 1 report, 2026. I can't read that.
Yeah, that's just our
No,
logo.
the contrast.
That's our logo,
Yeah.
Bhakti
Studio.
Bhakti Studio. Yeah, but you're stuck in space and everything else is great. A project of the Vedic Cultural Center. Bhakti Studio. Okay, Bhakti Studio
Is the name.
is a project of the Vedic Cultural
Our temple. Vedic Cultural Center is the main umbrella.
Oh, that's what.
Samamish.
What?
Vedic Cultural Center, Samamish, Vedic Cultural
That's
Center.
okay. It's not a temple.
Right, the temple is under that name, and we are using VCC,
Okay,
Vedic
okay.
Cultural Center, Samamish.
So the temple is a religious thing. What kind of corporation is it?
501c.
I want to see
Yes,
a
right.
non-profit religious church.
Yes. It's incorporated as ISKCON of Washington.
ISKCON of Washington.
But it does business as the
With the
cultural
cultural
center.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Lawyer, yeah. I've incorporated 3 different centers for ISKCON. So we started North American Institute for Oriental and Classical Studies, NEOS, a 501c3 nonprofit educational corporation in Tennessee. When we've been using that, yes, help it incorporate it and you set it up. A project of the Vedic Cultural Center. Okay.
We run our separate 501c3, which is non-religious.
I've almost, my response, my feeling is a project of the Vedic Cultural Center of Washington. And then it shows it as like this broader, we're Vedic Cultural Center, because it is. I mean, the Vedic Cultural Center is a corporation incorporated in the state of Washington. The project of the Vedic Cultural Center of Washington. Okay. Wow. Wow. Yeah, it is, because it's like different centers. Bhakti studio. Very nice. Semester 1 report, going deeper into Bhakti. Okay. Making the culture and spirituality of Krishna consciousness acceptable to a new, diverse Seattle. And this year going deeper. It's very nice. It's fine. It's good to me. You're on the right path. Yeah. This is the Bhakti Vedanta Institute. This is the Bhakti Vedanta. Everything that goes on all of our temples will go on in the Bhakti Vedanta Institute, but it is for those people who cannot go to our temples. And so he just set it up. And that was for him. Okay, and out of science, for him, the kingpin was evolution. Right? And what Prabhupada thought was the real key thing was evolution. Life comes from life. There's so many different areas. Ross was focusing more on consciousness and different things. Evolution. Carrying forward the mood and mission of Hari Vilas. Wow. To me, it should be Gosai. In my particular. I met him first when he came to Berkeley. Maybe 3 years or something. So had a lot of intense association with him. Because Maharaj is kind of sannyas title, but Gosai or Goswami, that's way to Gosai. Respectable, but it's also to be hostile. Carrying forward the mood and mission of Hari Vilas Maharaj. Okay. There he is. Okay. Okay. Western Seattle was saved. Hari Vilas' first move. Hari Vilas's first move was to shift the outreach focus from proselytizing, to developing good behavior, listening skills, and empathy, thus convincing by example. In Seattle, devotees also made their approach more accessible by removing confusing buzzwords from their vocabulary and increasing cultural presentations. It's very nice. And then the contrast is not.
The printer at home is not so.
Embodying this mood of Hari Vilas Maharaj, we believe we can serve the new diverse audience in Seattle. Okay. That's about as much as in the details, right?
Yes.
Some data. A lot of pictures with the captions. People lying around. like there's a zombie attack.
So Mara, just walking distance from here, 5 minutes walk from here, we have the Gasworks Park. Very nice.
Which park?
Can you? It's called.
There is a park just behind this building. Gas Works Park.
It used to be a
Park.
Gas Works
Park, yeah. It's a historical park.
Yeah, because the gas works is over.
Yes. There's a very nice water view,
Nice.
Seattle view.
Wow. And then you also got your patio, plaza here. Very nice.
Yeah, sometimes we go there and do the kirtan outside.
No, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Of course, I saw a postcard. See, as a little child, I lived here. My parents were civil service and moving around. I had memories. When I was here, it was snowing. It was snowing. I remember the yard we had. maybe I was about 3 years old or something like that. Seattle. But I remember it was a postcard was a postcard, for tourists, and it was all clouds, and it said, "A typical winter's day in Seattle." You turn to say, "A typical spring day in Seattle." Or a summer's day. So I don't know. Now it's sunny and it's very nice, but how many days here do you have? How many days do you have when the park is comfortable?
Yeah, we are able to do like
40, 50 days?
Yeah, 40, 50 days.
40 to 50 days. Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
The rest
yeah.
of the time it's
Yeah.
So, okay. Let me get going.
Yeah.
The sun is an incarnation of Aniruddha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aniruddha is the predominating deity of the mind. Therefore, without sufficient sunlight, it's impossible to keep good mental health.
Mm.
Seattle has high suicide rate, high alcoholism rate. My friend Lokanath, I said we were traveling a puppet tour not too long ago, you were here. And the government, every single high-rise that went up had to dedicate 15% to cultural development. So they had a good budget coming in. And they had a whole, represented a whole thing in terms of puppets. So a lot of internal cultural activities. And the work here in the popular, same in Chicago, like that. So then, developing puppet shows, internal cultural programs, puppet things and theater groups and, that kind of stuff. And, fighting against depression, right? Sufficient sunlight, music, everything else and stuff. So that's, a lot of your audience is people who are trying to keep them going crazy because they haven't seen the sun in 50 days. Yeah. It's alcoholism and everything else.
You see during the winter months, attendance typically jumps 30-40%.
Yeah.
During the summer months, it's harder to get people to come.
Yeah, so you go out.
Yeah.
That's where we go outside.
But then that's the kind of thing developing, like somebody likes, my friend Lokanath is like Marana with puppeteers. So they developed a whole program. I saw them standing when I was in Berkeley and stuff. I was traveling with them and stuff. They have mid stages and everything else. And so for somebody else, management means from good to great. You know that book? Good management. Okay. When I was at Ramagat, we'll finish off here. On the Brajmana curriculum of Lokanath Maharaj, I did it more than 7 times. I'm sitting there and this vision came to me from Balaram on management. The first question is, who am I? Okay, okay. Okay. The second question is, who are we? Third question is, what's the plan? And the fourth question is, what are resources we need? So I was using this and it works very well. You start this messy management situation, you kind of stop and say, well, hey, what are my responsibilities here? Mine. Okay, mine. Forget everybody else, forget the plan. What are my responsibilities here? What are my passions? Who am I? And you look around, you find somebody else who's actually answered that question. Right? Okay. You know what your passions are, you know what your responsibilities are. Hey, what are you? I'm a educational administrator. Who are you? I'm a teacher. Okay. Okay. What are you? I'm a school bus driver. Hey. Based upon the social relations, then you make a plan, right? Based upon people, character, that kind of stuff. Other places, many people. And it's funny, once you got a plan, then the resources are easy. Hey, Prabhu, my mother and father have an apartment in Seattle, and they gave it to me. Wow, what are we going to do? Let's make a plan to fit into the resources. Okay. Wow, what a great plan. Do you want to do it? No. Do you want to do it? No, but it's a great plan. I've seen exactly this what happens. Even 3-dimensional models, the plan, and nobody wants to personally do it. Not their motivation. So the other way around, you start off with, who am I? What kind of stuff, my nature? Yeah. Well, I didn't think about that before. And then you meet other people. So from good to great, he said, businesses that were good in the industry that became great. Okay, what makes it happen? Stanford funding, big professors helping, and everything else. He said, the first thing I did not want to see was that a guy on the white horse came and saved everybody. He said, I did not want to hear that. He said, but that's what was coming back. There was at least one person who had a vision. Maybe a couple more like that. It was always again and again. And then, the next question is, the way he stated it, who's on the bus and who's not on the bus. Right? The bus is going to go someplace, but first we're getting some people rejecting, some people involved. So somebody with some vision, and then building a team. We're going to go together someplace. Some plan maybe there, but not in detail. And then again, based on that, then we can always find, okay, what is our plan, what is our goal, what are our needs, yeah. So it's exactly the same, the same thing, from both directions and stuff. So, everybody, and again, they stop everybody even to sit down and just think about it, and every year go back over it again, where my plans have changed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as we are as a community, what's his name? Che Guevara, Hector Behar, was revolutionary during in the Cold War of South America. Tall guy, brilliant fellow, very nice. I worked a lot with him. He's international, top level, this kind of cool. Anyway, he was helping us. And he said for NEOS, you need a magazine, okay? And he said usually it's not until the sixth issue before it becomes fully effective. The first issue, people will look at it and notice it exists and put it aside. The second issue, they'll notice, oh, here it is again, and they'll read a little bit. The third issue, they'll say, well, here it is, what is this? Yeah. The fourth issue, they'll start to say, well, hey, I can get involved in this or something. She said, usually, you've got to hang in there for the magazine, at least 6 issues. Thank you. And he said, you can't cover everything. Okay. So you have 5 pages at the back for your 5 people you're associated with. You give them 1 page to put each issue, to put their stuff in there, and they give you 1 page in their magazine. So we're into cultural anthropology, science of the Vedas. Another group called Stapacham, you've heard of them. They're in the Vastu in India. Very nice people, ISKCON Life members, higher class people, professors, everything else. Dr. Samaresh put us in touch. So yeah, but we don't do Vastu. We like it, we want it to be done. And okay, send me directly. We go talk with them and stuff, and we do make directives. So, same thing. You're not going to cover everything. You're going to have certain people like that and stuff, and it starts off with everybody here, right? Stopping and figuring out, who am I? What's going on? Shanny, what am I? I have to do this. It's my nature. Okay, this is my responsibility. Okay, and then start to build a team. Yeah. So NEOS, our organization, we have what's happening. We're trying to define ourselves a lot. What's going on?